right. Well, good Tuesday, not Thursday, evening, South Carolina Weather Watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Jesse Peterson, and we have some stuff that we are going to go on and talk about for tonight. As you can see here on the screen, heat indices could reach 115 degrees plus as early as tomorrow. And we will get into all of that in just a moment as of why that's going to happen and when it's going to happen. But no, I mean, like I said, it could be as soon as tomorrow. So if you've not hit the like button yet or the subscribe button yet, please go on and do so. Also hit the share button and also make sure that you check out my new website, scweather360.com. Again, that is scweather360.com. Also, um, if you've not hit the share button, again, like I said, share it through friends, family members, acquaintances, and people that you don't talk to regularly because it's free, it's free, it's free. Starting off, what's on tap for tonight? We're going to talk about the persistent, dangerous heat and humidity tonight all the way through Saturday. Strong to severe thunderstorms possible tonight going into tomorrow. And typical summertime afternoon, evening thunderstorms most days this week with damaging winds possible. And definitely as we get into the weekend, the later part of the weekend, that rain chance will go up. That rain chance will go up as we go into this weekend. So again, we'll get into all of that in just a moment. But first, what's going on in terms of our live radar? What's currently going on? Well, one thing that you do see is we do have some rain going on over here, like in southern Gaffney counties, going on over into eastern Spartanburg counties. But it looks like that the majority of us are nice and dry. Majority of us are nice and dry. We move on and see what's going on throughout the entire U.S. We do have some rainfall going in, like into Texas, some rainfall in Florida. We even have some more rainfall going on in Alabama, Georgia, even some flash flood warnings going on over here inside of North Carolina. Severe weather going on inside of North Carolina, Tennessee, also having in on some flash flooding as we talk right now for like the next hour or so. And then as you move over to Arkansas, another risk of strong storms, some more strong storms over here in South Dakota, Wyoming, Montana. I mean, severe weather going on almost from east to west as we're talking about the current weather this evening. Now, what's going on in terms of our cloud cover? Well, cloud cover for right now seems like that we are mostly 50-50. I mean, you see the low country getting in on some cloud cover, you see the PD area, you see the Grand Strand area, looking about 50-50 right now in terms of cloud cover. The upstate looks mostly clear, the Midlands mostly clear. And as we go on and look at that cloud cover for the future, as we go on and push this forward all the way into tonight, going into tomorrow, it looks like that cloud cover activity will continue to kind of move its way from west to east, even as you go through from around Wednesday morning, going all the way into Wednesday afternoon. Cloud cover activity does continue to try and intensify a little bit as we go into the afternoon. That is also just due to storm activity that's kind of popping up here and there. And then as you move into Wednesday evening, going into Wednesday night, Thursday morning here, cloud cover again, kind of just sticking around a little bit. Not too much, though, not too much. And then as we go into Thursday afternoon, again, that cloud cover starts to come back a little bit. Now, what about for our current temperatures? We're talking about 83 in Somerville, 84 in Charleston, 83 Georgetown, even 84 in Myrtle Beach, 83 Conway, 88 in Columbia, 87 in Newberry, 84 even inside of Greenville, 82 Spartanburg, 81 Gaffney, 88 in Clemson and Anderson. Now, what about for our air quality? Well, it looks like that the majority of us are inside that good category, but a lot of us are inside that yellow. The yellow, that's the moderate category. That means that we're not technically too bad, but we're not technically too good either if you're in that yellow. So make sure that if you're in the yellow, that you're paying attention for that risk of air quality for tonight if you're outside for a long period of time. Low temperatures for tonight, 73 Greenville, 72 Spartanburg, even around 73 in Newberry, 77 in Columbia and Orangeburg, as well as 76 in Moncks Corner, 81 inside of Charleston and Hilton Head Island, as well as 80 in Myrtle Beach, 78 inside of Georgetown. And then high temperatures for tomorrow, around 95 in Greenville, Spartanburg, even 98 in Columbia, Orangeburg also at around 98, Moncks Corner, 98. 97 inside of Georgetown and 94 in Myrtle Beach, 93 inside of downtown Charleston. Now, heat index values for tomorrow, it looks like that the majority of us are going to be 100 plus. And then as we look towards the coastal areas, 115 in Hilton Head Island. That's a heat index value tomorrow in Hilton Head Island of 115. Charleston, 111. 111 in Myrtle Beach. 109 in Georgetown. 107 in Moncks Corner. Walterboro. Even Columbia is at 107. 104 in Kingstree. 100 in Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson. So it's going to be hot no matter where you are throughout the state tomorrow. I mean, 100 degrees, definitely not as hot as like 115, but still, 100 degrees is still hot. 100 degrees definitely is still hot on a feel like basis. And so, also when it comes to that rainfall as well, after a storm tries to move through, you can tell it gets muggier, and those feel like temperatures will move up due to a shower or a storm moving through. Felt that today at around 4 o'clock p.m. when a shower moved through my area. It's a pretty small one, it wasn't even raining for that long. Kind of just like a little passing, summer shower that kind of came through. And after it was done, it just felt bad, bad outside. With those heat, index values kind of rising up a lot more than what was originally forecasted. Now, what's going on in terms of precipitation? Well, for right now, it looks like for the next 24 hours that a good amount of us could see rainfall. You're talking about 1/100 of an inch to 1/10 of an inch for areas like Winsboro, like Camden, over down to Charleston, Georgetown, Moncks Corner, Myrtle Beach. Those areas are on 1/100 of an inch to 1/10 of an inch. And then some areas may even be around 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch or so. So, mainly kind of looking at that in parts of the low country, the Grand Strand areas as well. And it looks like that we will continue to kind of see that scattered shower and storm activity throughout the next 24 hours, as you're not really seeing anything too widespread. But one thing you have to keep in mind is that this does not count thunderstorms, because obviously with thunderstorms, anything can happen with the precipitation of thunderstorms. It could be heavy, it could be light, it could be anything. So this is a forecast not really including thunderstorm activity. Now, the SPC outlook, as we all know, they like to update their outlooks at 9 o'clock p.m. But due to my website, I can go in and check that out and get it downloaded in about 2 seconds. So, if I go there right now, here we are. Oh, there we go. Okay. Starting off here at around tonight, it looks like that the severe weather risk is actually gone. That the severe weather risk is actually gone for tonight. And it's actually a kind of a bad representation, because as soon as I was just bragging about my new website, of course my computer decides it doesn't want to load it this time. Oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that was a bad representation, but it like 99.9% of the time works though. But here it is right here. Thunderstorm activity is honestly kept to a minimum. You're only seeing it really in parts of the upstate. You're seeing it in parts of the PD areas, and you can see also the far southern areas is also in that thunderstorm area. But the marginal risk that was in the upstate and parts of the northern PD area is now gone, and it looks like that we're going to continue to just stay, for the most part, thunderstorm free for the majority of us. Now tomorrow, severe thunderstorms are again once possible over there inside of the York County areas, moving over into Marlborough County area, moving close towards some other areas like Bennettsville, maybe Chesterfield's included in there as well. And so those areas, marginal risk of severe weather. What are the threats? Well, it seems like damaging winds once again taking the shine, as hail and tornadoes, yes, are not really a big threat here. And then as you go into Thursday, once again, thunderstorms statewide possible. Now, as you move over into fire weather, it looks like that we are good. Excessive rainfall looks like that we are good. And then the crazy score, for right now, we are at an 8. We are at an 8 on the scale of 1 to 100 plus. South Carolina is enjoying calm, pleasant conditions right now. No significant weather threats across the state. We do have a 1 point on the alert tab and 7 points on the conditions tab. It seems like that the one alert that we have, it is a flood advisory over there inside of Oconee County and Pickens County, right on that border, just to the north of East Tateau. I hope I said that correctly. But that was just caused by excessive rainfall that was falling throughout that area. That expires in about an hour and 20 minutes or so. And then the other 7 are just from, cloudy conditions. We're still seeing some rainfall in parts of the upstate, so that overall kind of does add it up a little bit as well. So let's go on now and take a look at the models. Time is at the bottom part of your screen. Please make sure that you go on and pay attention to the models. It's very, 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 very important that you go on and do so, because if you lose track of where we are, obviously that's not a good thing. We want everybody to know what's going to happen and what the models are saying. So we start off here at 9 o'clock p.m. tonight, and as we go on and push this forward into this evening, going into tonight, going over into tomorrow morning, we're looking at nice dry conditions tomorrow morning. We go into around 11 o'clock in the morning, still nice and dry, but watch as we get to around 2 to 3 p.m., showers and storms start to pop up in the Midlands, start to pop up inside the low country areas, and gets pretty bad in areas of the low country potentially later on in the afternoon, going on in even into the early evening, to where now we may start to see some stormy activity over there inside of the Grand Strand areas. Even parts of the Midland areas will be kind of involved in some moisture. And then as we move forward to around 8 o'clock p.m., 9 o'clock p.m. when I go live, things start to calm down. We start to see just some isolated shower activity, maybe still a couple of rumbles of thunder here and there, but it's, again, not too bad. You go to 12 o'clock in the morning on Thursday or so, and you still may see a couple of, showers kind of here and there. But Thursday morning, things look dry. Thursday afternoon comes along, and obviously we're going to be talking about some more rainfall. But for right now, it looks like that rainfall activity is going to kind of just take a little bit of a more summer-like approach. We've been talking about this summer-like pattern for days now, to where every day, for at least for this week, kind of looks like that we're going to be talking about just regular, isolated to scattered thunderstorm activity like a normal summer's day would be. One thing that we didn't really go on and touch on too much was the severe weather threat up there in the upstate. You can kind of see things maybe around 3 o'clock p.m., but again, it's an isolated risk, and honestly, it doesn't really look that bad on models. But obviously, models not really the best for when it comes to summertime convection, so we just really just have to look at the moisture and look at the shower/storm on models and kind of just tell what the timing is going to be. And it looks like that up there, I mean, you see it kind of starting around 2, 3 p.m. and then kind of lasts to around like 7 p.m., but then things kind of like calm down. So if there was to be like some sort of severe storm up there, probably would be during that time frame around there. So now as we go on and take a look at our long-term future, we're going to start off here on Thursday, 2 o'clock p.m., 48 hours out. And as we push this forward, you can see that we do in fact have, again, more shower and storm activity as we were expecting through Thursday. Friday comes along, still seeing some rainfall activity, more like summer. Saturday comes along and things start to get a little bit interesting as a cold front may be trying to move through later on, going into Friday, going into Saturday, Friday night, Saturday or so. And now we're talking about some pretty, big moisture, some pretty big beneficial rainmakers trying to move into the state as we move into Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening or so. And then as you go more even into Sunday we were talking about some even more bigger rainmakers that may be trying to come through Sunday. And then as we go over into Monday, look at this. I mean, multiple days of good amount of rainfall trying to move through, and that is due to a trough that we have. That's going to be kind of up towards the north of us. That's going to be digging down more and more down towards the south, kind of in our area. That's going to cause some moisture to get going, as you have obviously the ridge area kind of over here, and then you have the trough over here. That's going to cause that moisture, obviously. And so that's why we're going to be seeing a bunch of moisture kind of trying to make its way down over into the state going into this weekend, going into the early parts of next week, which is exactly why I said it on the What's on Tap screen. This weekend, beneficial rainfall is on the way. Now, as we go more even into Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, things start to calm down a lot more. We're back up into just a regular pattern, but don't worry, by the end parts of next week, we could be talking about some even more beneficial rainfall once again. So I really do think that we're really going to start trickling down on this drought more and more and more, which, by the way, the drought monitor update is on Thursday. But as we move into like the weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend, for example, again, just more rainfall, one after the other after the other. So I do think that above average precipitation is on the way as we move more into like next week, going into the week after potentially. So let's go on now and take a look at how much rainfall we could potentially see over the next 384 hours. This is from the GEFS, and the GEFS, for the most part, saying around 2 to 3 inches, maybe even 3.5 inches or so, as you move into the next 384 hours. Looks like that we are going to continue to just see that rain chance increase more and more and more. And this is definitely a lot more rainfall than what we have been seeing on the ensembles for past, or in the past couple of days or so. As some areas only maybe got like an inch and a half, some maybe an inch and 3/10 or so, inch and a quarter. So this is a huge upgrade, meaning that, makes my point even stronger that we're getting more into a wetter pattern. And the European agrees as well. This throughout the next 360 hours, around 2.2 inches or so as a low, and then maybe around as high as 4 inches of rainfall, like in downtown Charleston areas, as you go into the next 360 hours. So I do believe that we will continue to see that increase in terms of moisture. Now, rainfall, it's a good thing that we can go on and keep track of. But obviously, the main thing that most people are probably talking about right now in the state of South Carolina for when it comes to the weather is this heat. And in fact, the heat's going to be pretty bad to the point to where there is now excessive heat watches. Excessive heat watches for tomorrow. Tomorrow, at around 11 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock p.m., we have areas like Berkeley County, Beaufort County, Colleton counties, Charleston counties, as well as coastal Jasper and then tidal Berkeley will be receiving heat index values of up to 112 to 116 degrees. And again, we were talking about that with Hilton Head Island, for example, getting around 115. But dangerously hot conditions in those counties that I just listed we'll be up to around 112 to 116 degrees tomorrow. Now, we'll see what they show tomorrow morning, see if they upgrade that to a warning or not. But obviously, make sure tomorrow drink plenty of fluid, stay in an air-conditioned room, stay out in the sun, and check up on relatives and neighbors, obviously, in those areas. And then, obviously, other areas that are still inside the heat advisory, that's areas like Colleton counties, Dorchester counties, and then Jasper counties. Those areas are still inside of a heat advisory for heat index values up to 110 degrees tomorrow. So that's from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Wednesday. And the same thing there. Drink plenty of fluids, stay out the sun, check up on relatives, etc. But what about past this time frame right here? So if we go on and move into tomorrow, we know it's going to be hot. Thursday, same thing, 10 to 15 degrees above average. But then as we move into Friday, you still see it's the same thing. But watch as we move into this weekend. You start to see some cooler infiltration start to kind of move its way in as we move into Saturday. Even Saturday night, we're talking about 6 to 10 degrees below average in some spots as we move into Saturday. Sunday comes along. Look at Sunday during the day. I mean, some areas only a degree above average. Some areas 7 to 8 degrees above average. Some areas, still around 10 degrees above average, especially near the coastal areas. But you see a definite decrease in terms of temperatures as you move into Sunday and, Saturday as well, like we were talking about. Monday, same thing. Look at Monday during the afternoon. We're talking about 18, 20, 22 degrees below average at 2 o'clock p.m. on Monday. We go even into Tuesday, for example, still below average once again. Wednesday, still seeming to be below average. And then as we move into Thursday, we move into Friday, things start to get back up on that warmer train, but a huge cool down for sure is on the way. That's definitely on the way as we move into next week. Now, are we going to be talking about 50s? Are we going to be talking about 40s? Are we going to be talking about 30s? Absolutely not. We got a long way to go before we start talking about those types of temperatures again. But it's definitely going to be a lot cooler, than hundreds and, feel like temperatures of 110 degrees or so. Now, as you move even into the week after next week, we're still going to be talking about those warmer temperatures trying to come back. Now, in terms of actual temperatures, you move into Wednesday, going into Wednesday afternoon. Tomorrow, we know temperatures are going to be up there. We go into Thursday, moving all the way into Friday and Saturday. You finally start to see some of those cooler temperatures coming out. We move into Sunday. during the day, not quite reaching 100. You see a couple of areas reaching around like maybe 88, 89 or so. But then you move into Monday. Look at these high temperatures on Monday. 76 in some areas. I see like up there, Greenville, close to 69 as a high temperature moving into Monday of next week. We move into Tuesday. Not quite as low, but still pretty low for the majority of us. Wednesday comes along, though, moving into Thursday, and then those higher temperatures come back. Now, one thing that we also want to go in and take a look at is those heat index values, because heat index values are also pretty important to go in and take a look at. We go over into Wednesday, moving over into Thursday, we're still talking about those heat index values up to 105, 106, 107 degrees or so, even as we move into the end parts of the week. Now, we move into the weekend, we're still up around 103, 104, 105 in some spots. Sunday, not quite, maybe not quite as much. And then Monday comes along, and we're really not talking about any bad heat index values as we move all the way through potentially the week of next week. Maybe like toward like the ending of the week potentially. Now, one more thing we're going to look at real quick before we go on and talk with the audience is this ensemble right here. This is the GEFS. This is the mean, the average of temperatures as we move into like the next 200 plus hours or so, just because usually once you get around 200 plus hours, things start to get a little bit inaccurate for when it comes to the deterministic models in terms of like the actual temperatures. So we're going to take a look at the ensembles real quick. And one thing that you do notice is that these temperatures are definitely declining. They definitely are declining even as you go more and more into like the end parts of July. Now, they do seem to try and spike back up a little bit, so maybe just be like a little couple of days type thing there. But I am kind of seeing a little bit of a decline in terms of temperature as you move into like the 17th, going into like the 18th, and then even going into the 19th. But then as you go into like the 20th or so, it starts to climb back up a little bit. And even the ensembles, if we go back into this weekend going into next week, you can definitely see that there also was a decline there as well. And so that's pretty much all I have to say here, and that pretty much wraps up my point. That heat index or heat indices could reach 115 plus, and that it's going to be hot. It's going to be really hot, especially tomorrow. And not only that, but also it's just going to be a bit of a cool down potentially as we move after this weekend here. So that's pretty much all I have to say here in terms of the official forecast. So let's go on and talk with the audience, as there was no earthquakes today. Obviously, no drought monitor was here until Thursday. So let's go on and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say here for tonight. Starting off, my Aunt Lula was here first tonight. She says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. I pray that everyone had a great day today. Today's high was around 90 degrees, currently around 80. Today's cloud cover was also around 79. It was pretty hot today. I spent most of my time indoors. Well, thank you so much for all of that information for when it comes to your weather for today. My name says hello, Jay and all. Hello to you. What an awesome day in spite of the heat. Mike and I worked in the yard in spite of the heat. We got rain here around three times today. Well, thank you so much for that information. I was glad that you guys were able to get some work done. Just, make sure that drinking water is staying cool as much as you can. Mr. Anthony says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Then Mr. Chris is back, says, good evening, everyone. I'm back for now. Yes, she's having it hard as of right now. Well, I do hope that all does get better for you as you move into your future here, and hopefully we can continue to see you here nightly. But I'm glad to see that you are back. That says, good evening, Joseph in the 360 Weather family. I trust all is well with everyone. It was another beautifully hot day here inside of San Antonio. We had a high of around 95 and slight overcast. Well, thank you so much for that information for where you are over there inside of San Antonio. Glad to hear that it was another beautiful day over there. And then my Aunt Lewis says, nephew, I did go on your website today and it looks great. Well, thank you so much for that. Again, if you want to go on and check out my website, that is scweather360.com. Again, scweather360.com. And then Trail says, greetings, everyone. Greetings to you. And that's all that I can see here. So we're going to go on real quick and say my top fan question of the night for tonight, because I was looking for one thing. I haven't seen it yet, so I guess we're gonna have to wait another night to do that. But it is time for the top fan question. If you have no idea what the top fan question is, it is a question that I go in and ask, and we see who's the first person that was paying attention that can get it correct. You have to be a subscriber, obviously. You obviously have to be here early so you can get all the information, because it could be something from as early as the title screen to as late as right now. So I mean, it could be anything. It could be anything. So I'm going to ask I'd say like a pretty, it's kind of easy, but also not so easy because you have options. You have options. And so, what's the question? Whoever can go on and name whatever, we can do a low temperature. We can do a low temperature. Whoever can say any low temperature that was on the map earlier. Again, it could be any location. It could be from Columbia to Spartanburg to Greenville to Charleston to Georgetown to Myrtle Beach. It could be to any one of these locations. Whoever can go on first and give me a low temperature for any location that was on the map that I showed earlier that was labeled, I will give you top fan of the night for tonight again. So any location, doesn't matter which one, you just have to give me it. And that's the question. We're going to go on and let that go on inside the chat. Lisa, I hope I said that correctly, says, hot in Clover, South Carolina today, but there was a breeze which helped with the heat. Was kind of the same over here inside the Tri-County area that I kind of saw was just a breeze that kind of came through every once in a while. So that was refreshing at least. And let's go on and check and see what's going on throughout the 4 areas outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, 4 areas, what am I talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we go in and talk about these 4 areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly, and because they tune almost nightly, we go in and give them their forecast for them. Also, I'm seeing a lot of answers, but you need to have a town/city and a temperature. So you can't have just a temperature and you can't have just a town. You have to have both. Remember, a low temperature for one specific location that you want. For one specific location that you want. And also, sad that answer is not correct. 69, not the low temperature for Georgetown for tonight. But let's go and talk about San Antonio first. You have low temperatures tonight at around 75, high temperatures for tomorrow at 96, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at around 75. There is a slight chance of showers tonight, and then tomorrow, no precipitation is expected at this time. Again, no precipitation is expected tomorrow. So, next chance of rainfall for you after tomorrow could potentially be around Saturday, and we were really talking about, how you didn't really have too much of a precipitation chance until around like Friday going into Saturday, but turns out you actually did develop a little bit of a slight chance of shower risk as you go into tonight. So, we'll see what kind of happens there. As currently it looks like that you are dry, but I do see some showers to your west. Now, what's going on in terms of your severe weather and for your excessive rainfall? For right now, it does look like at least that you are going to see no severe weather activity. And then in terms of excessive rainfall activity, it looks like that you have no excessive rainfall activity, so you look good overall. And then if we go in and take a look at your future temperature-wise, it continues to look like you will stay up into the 90s even as you move into this weekend. Even going into next week, it looks like you're going to be in the 90s. Now, what's going on in terms of Raleigh, North Carolina? Low temperatures tonight at around 75. High temperatures for tomorrow at 93, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 75. Thunderstorms are likely tonight, but then tomorrow, there's a chance of thunderstorm activity tomorrow and tomorrow night. Now, what about for your future? Temperature-wise, you're going to continue to stay up in the upper 90s even as you go into this weekend. Probably early weekend, because as Sunday comes along, you're going to kind of dip down into the upper 80s or so. Rainfall-wise, you're also going to stay pretty active. Your really only dry day potentially is Friday and then next week Tuesday. But other than that, you have a chance of rainfall every single day. And with that chance of rainfall, does come a risk of excessive rainfall. Tonight, slight risk of excessive rainfall. It does seem like right now that you are looking at a flash flood warning. In fact, you have a strong storm that kind of just moved by. But yes, you have a flash flood warning right now that does include Raleigh, so you are in a flash flood warning. Please make sure that you're getting to higher ground if you are inside of a low-lying or low-laying kind of area, as you do have that risk there, and it's confirmed right now. Now, severe weather-wise, tomorrow you also do have a risk for some isolated damage and wind gust on the side for tomorrow, so make sure that that's also a priority that you're paying attention to. So I do see some more answers. My Aunt Lewis says 79, Spartanburg 76. Well, let's see if one of those are the answers, and it is not. It is not. But I will say, we'll give you a hint. It's lower. It is lower. And then for Georgetown 69, it's higher. So Spartanburg, it's lower than 76. Georgetown, it's higher than 69. And there are a couple of areas that actually do have a low temperature of 78. So you have a couple of options there that you could choose from. But let's go in and talk about Philadelphia now. You have low temperatures tonight at 67, high temperatures for tomorrow at 84, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 69. Patchy fog. Patchy fog definitely is going to be an issue tonight. Please make sure that you have low beam headlights on as you travel throughout tonight. But tomorrow looks like things are kind of going to tomorrow morning it does look like that things are going to kind of just go on and take a bit of a turn towards the better for fog, because it doesn't really seem to be too much of a concern there. Tomorrow night, nothing there. Now, in terms of your future, severe weather-wise, first, it looks like that you are in the clear for severe weather. Then excessive rainfall, looks like that nothing there either. Looks like you have nothing there either. So now for your future, temperature-wise, you're going to continue to kind of just stay up in the 80s, but don't worry, next week you'll be back up into the 90s before you know it. And then precipitation-wise, Thursday all the way through into Friday night, rainfall definitely is possible, but, once you get to around Saturday into Tuesday or so, kind of in between that time frame, rain chances die down a lot. And then before we go on to talk about Duncan, let's see, do we have any more answers? We do. I see Spartanburg 69. That is not correct. Higher than 69. 78 in Myrtle Beach. Higher than that. And then 73, but there's no location to it. So, higher than 78 in Myrtle Beach. Higher than 69 in Spartanburg. For Duncan, Oklahoma, low temperatures tonight at 73, high temperatures for tomorrow at 99, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 78. No precipitation is expected until around this weekend, around Saturday or so, going into like Monday or so you're going to see that. And then in terms of temperatures, around 99 Wednesday for tomorrow, 100 on Thursday, 100 on Friday. I mean, it's going to continue to stay hot. Even on next week, Wednesday, it's going to be around 94, which is still hot. Definitely still hot. Severe weather for you, not expected. I can probably check excessive rainfall as well, but there's probably no point because there is no risk there either. So what's going on right now throughout the entire state and the entire nation, weather news-wise? Well, severe thunderstorms producing damaging winds are most likely over parts of the Dakotas into Minnesota from this afternoon into the overnight, with other isolated storms producing hail or wind over the northern high plains. In the northern plains into the upper Great Lakes and mid-Atlantic, heavy to excessive rainfall may bring flash and urban flooding through Wednesday. Also, some dangerous heat will be making its way through from South Carolina down into Georgia, down all the way into Florida, as well down there in the southwest from California to Arizona, getting in on some heat. And then also news in terms of South Carolina wise, it does seem like that we did have a damage report over there near the Briar Cliff Estate, or Acres, excuse me. Briar Cliff Acres, over there right there near North Myrtle Beach. There was a storm that moved through, and a tree actually fell on a vehicle, injuring one person. That was inside of the Briar Cliff Acres area in Horry County, where there was, again, a tree that fell on a vehicle that injured somebody in the process. So that's all the reports that we really had for today in terms of wind reports. Other than that, I don't see anything else right now here. So that's all I can see here, and I still do not see a correct answer. In fact, I mean, the low temperature mark actually just appeared at the bottom part of the screen. So that was also, again, just another dead giveaway. And let's see. I still don't see a correct answer, though. I see 77 Spartanburg, Spartanburg 71. Neither of those are the correct answer. So I'm going to assume that's pretty much all. I mean, that's pretty much it for tonight. Thank you though to everybody who did participate though, but I know Spartanburg was a big one. Spartanburg was 72. Georgetown was 78. Let's see. Myrtle Beach was 80. So there was a good amount of answers that you actually could have picked from. With a lot of them being the same, but not really a top fan in the night for tonight. So that's a bit disappointing. But we can go over the honorable mention. Mr. Chris was on there. My Nana was on there. My Aunt Lula was on there. And then Thad was also on there as well. So congratulations to the four of y'all for being the honorable mention for tonight. Again, if you want to be a part of the top fans, you can. Joining us here nightly, being here, being a subscriber. And then also going on and being here early. Being active, because you never know. It could be a question. It could be whoever sent me an email. It could be whoever was here first tonight, whoever typed first tonight. All of that could be used. But that's all I have to say for tonight. Make sure that you go and hit the like button. Make sure that you also go on and hit the subscribe button. We're at 762, trying to get to that main goal of 800. Also, make sure that you go on and share with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, the people that you don't talk to regularly. Not only the YouTube channel, but also the new website, seweather360.com. That is the new website that just released yesterday. And that's all I have to say. So, reminder, Thursday evening going into Sunday morning, I will not be present. So that's why, the website's kind of there now for you can go on and take a look at your forecast there and what's going on in terms of the drought monitor, what's going on in terms of earthquakes and all that stuff. The crazy score is still on there. And then also, actually, I think that's it. No, I was about to say something else, but I forgot what it was. So if I remember it, I may put it out inside the chat, but that's all I have to say here. Make sure that you tune in tomorrow morning for your Wednesday morning forecast update. Also tomorrow evening for your Wednesday evening forecast update.